After African people globally have made their voice heard on 30th of April, following the comment that was made, not even comment, a false accusation by the Africom Commander General Michael Langley. Now that has got a global, topic, and African people have protested against it. Now it seems that US is responding not a direct way but indirectly by replacing General Michael Langley. General Michael Langley, after that false accusation of against Captain Ibrahim Traore, saying he is using the country's natural resource like gold for his personal security. Then he has done twice a trip to Ivory Coast, the neighboring country, and also he organized or Africom organized this African Chief of Staff meeting in Nairobi also recently. So he has been there twice, 3 times in the continent after even making that continent. Now, what we are saying is that this move by the United States or the Trump administration to replace Langley is perhaps that our voice have been heard, and they want to make it seem that kind of US is retreating, because the whole tone of the meeting of the African Chief of Staff also was about, okay, Africa should take care of itself, and even they're saying with Trump's administration that US first policy, that saying the African continent should be able to finance its own security, which I absolutely support Donald Trump on that one. Now, but the thing is that many of you I have seen on social media celebrating, saying that, okay, he has been fired. US seems to consider now what the Africans are asking. Well, look, the replacement is the same also. US, whether it's Democrat, Republicans, it always, they ran the same policy against Africa, and they're not retreating. In fact, I will share with you this headline that came after the talk of General Langley's replacement, which says, they are saying they are still talking about a growing threats of terrorism in the continent. And in fact, they are saying, oh, maybe we should combine Africom and EUCOM, because there's also military in the European Union. So one of their commander, actually Langley himself and others, have said that the US should not combine both European Union and African, the Africom, the African commander, the US military in Africa, which is Africom. And the main reason is that because there's a growing, terrorism is growing there, and in fact the US has to put more investment in this. So they're just getting, to get stronger. They, in order to come back stronger, they have to just withdraw a little. Yes, it is true. The US deployment, for example, in Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and they have been kicked out, and also including Chad, they have been kicked out. But guess what? They are strengthening their presence surrounding the Sahel states also, and in other parts of the country. There is an immense amount of US military in Africa, and there's no talk of getting out. In fact, they say that if we go out, literally they're saying this, if Africom leaves, then it will be for a win for Putin and Xi Jinping of China. So they don't want to leave, they just want to be there and take their part. So my message, first of all, to Africom is, first of all, look, you have this US military in Africa, calling it Africom, and its head office, its headquarter is in Stuttgart in Germany. And like, you don't even want to have the office in Africa. Well, I mean, we don't want, let the office be in Germany, but we don't want also your military. Now we started, it's a good cause for us that now it started with your accusation of against Captain Ibrahim Traore. But the thing is that African people do not want you. Many African people, if you are taking note, you Africom, you have to withdraw from all parts of the continent. This should be a wake-up call for you. Africans are saying, we do not want you here. We will take our affairs in our own hands. Yes, it is true. You have been, perhaps your presence in Africa in some countries is even, maybe you are invited by our presidents and governments, because with your presence, you can help them to stay in power. In fact, they may even make you as their Republican Guard or whatever, some kind of loyal forces, whenever the people are protesting to throw the government, because that government has stayed in power. So that time maybe they will use you. So yeah, it's true, some of our governments want this foreign military to stay in the country. But people of Africa, wherever you are, you should continue with your united voice, just like we did on April 30th, to support Captain Ibrahim Traore and to show against, what General Michael Langley said. So now we even have to come united and asking for all foreign militaries, and particularly for the US military, to leave the continent. And then let the governments, they have enough sources, they can figure it out how to finance their own. So they need to leave the country. That is the thing. The secondly, those who celebrate that now he is fired. Another one who is coming, whether he or she is in blackface or whiteface or whatever, it is all the same. US has never made Africa a priority. That is the policy in White House. It has never been. So even in the time where they were not saying US first, Africa wasn't a priority of the United States. So let's be clear on that one. So now when Trump tells us that US first, we welcome very much. I mean, it's a blessing in disguise. Yes, Trump does a lot of things, but this is very good thing for Africa. So Africans can learn now, when they are on that table of negotiating their trade or whatever they are negotiating with the United States and others, they have to be able to say Africa first, or Zimbabwe first, South Africa first, Ethiopia first. So and then even in a larger picture, they have to say Africa first. And that's what we want them to follow and to learn from the Trump administration. So General Langley has not been anyway a competent person, because an emerging videos, he was appointed in 2022 as the commander of Africom, but there are videos that we have seen earlier in 2023. He was really roasted by one congressman in the United States, asking him, about the Sahel states, and in which he was not able even to answer a question. He was not well equipped. That's what we have seen also in the Senate. So it's good he's gone, but things will remain the same. So for us, we need, as Africans, wherever Africans at home and Africans in diaspora, we need to remain to be vigilant against any foreign military presence in Africa. They should leave. And security matters should be taken care of by our own governments. In even peacekeeping mission, let alone just to be present in even peacekeeping mission, our governments should be able to finance it. So that's what I wanted to say. But last but not least, I want to show you this video just as a reminder of Michelangelo's incompetency.
Colonel Mahlet Doumbouya, and this is a photo of him. Did we train and equip him?
By name, I cannot identify that.
Well, that's him with a bunch of U.S. service members.
So basically, this Senate man, this congressman is asking him how, the U.S. trained militaries are committing a coup d'etat in Africa. So now he's specifically asking him about Equatorial Guinea of Colonel Doumbouya, and he was trained by United States. So he's roasting here Michelangelo. Listen to him.
Outside of our embassy, and just months after this photo was taken in 2021, he led a coup in Guinea and threw out the leader. Does that concern you?
Congressman, core values is what we start off with in IMA programs.
Do we share core values with Colonel Doumbouya?
Core values. I will repeat that.
He led a coup.
We do.
So I guess 4 months after that exchange, General Langley, you had General Moussa Bamou overthrow the government in Niger. And it won't surprise anybody here that we trained him. The person who overthrew the democratically elected government in Niger went to the National Defense University, trained at Fort Benning, Georgia. So do we share core values with Moussa Bamou?
Congressman, let me just go ahead and state that core values is what we start off with. But there is no syllabus for overthrowing the government, not in our institutions.
Well, they're learning it pretty well, even in the absence of a syllabus, right? Because if you look at Chad, Burkina Faso, Mali, Mauritania, Niger, in a lot of these countries, the coup is led by someone we trained. Now, I put in the National Defense Authorization Act a requirement for you to issue us a report as to how many coup leaders our taxpayers have funded the training for. That report is due tomorrow.
Yeah.
Will we be getting it on time?
I'll do a follow-up on that, Congressman.
Well, I mean, this was the follow-up, right? Because first I asked you in that clip, how many coup leaders did we train? You didn't know. And so then I put it in the law for you to tell me. The law requires you to tell me by tomorrow. So can you give us a preview of coming attractions?
You get that. You'll get your answer, Congressman. But let me say, there's no correlation, and there's no causation of U.S. training to these members.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out, because in like a dozen countries, the coup leaders are people we trained. Like, what a difference a year makes. March 16th, 2023, Secretary Blinken calls Niger, quote, a model of resilience, a model of democracy, a model of cooperation. 1 year and 1 day later, Dr. Wallander, the spokesperson of the Nigerian military, Colonel Amadou Amabrame, says, quote, the American presence in the territory of the Republic of Niger is illegal. A year and a day after our government said they were the model of resilience and democracy, they are throwing us out by the scruffs of our neck. And so is it safe to say that this failed, General Langley?
Yeah, exactly. It has failed, not because of, for the reasons that this congressman is talking about, but for the reasons that African people do not want you to be in their homeland. So because you are more and more being involved in things that works against the interest of African people. Those terrorist groups that you are talking about have been, exponentially grown in numbers after you have brought your military in the continent. So there is nothing that we have seen positive impact in the continent. You are there to guard your own business, to loot the natural resource, in the name of terrorism, the terrorist groups that you equip, you sponsor, you donate. So we all know, it's African people know what you're doing, so you better leave. I think Africom should do an honorary exit from the continent. And let us know in the comment section, what do you think of this move by Africom? And do you think it's a retreat by the United States? Finally, is the United States military retreating from Africa? I don't think so. It's all the same. But let us know in the comment section. It's a bye-bye for me for now. Thanks again. Share the video with others. Support us through our PayPal account and buy me a coffee link in the description section. That was it. Thank you.